Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Spill the Beans. I'm Tim Bratz. I have my good friend Q Patterson coming in. She's actually a friend of my wife's, Kate, and met her through Kate. Q's got her own consulting business on the marketing and branding side of things. She was working actually with Kate's personal trainer, and then she was working with my buddy Caleb Pearson, who has actually been on Spill the Beans. He's got a big brokerage and investment company, and I got introduced to Q just on the social side of things. Started talking to her about what she did and how she did it, and she does a lot of consulting, like I said, on the marketing side. And I was like, why don't you give me a little audit on what we have going on? So brought on Q as a consultant about, I don't know, maybe like 6 months ago, and doing a lot of really cool stuff on the marketing side. So I'm excited to sit down with her and really dive deep into what she does for small businesses to help them scale their growth through marketing and branding. So hope you get a ton of value out of this episode. Welcome to Spill the Beans. What's going on, Tim? How are you?
I'm good. How you been?
Good. Welcome to Spill the Beans.
I'm excited to be here.
No, it's awesome to have you here. Yeah. So, all right. So I know some of your story. Why don't you give me how did you get into marketing? How did you get into branding? I want to know a little bit more about that, and then I want to dive a little bit deeper into what you have going on, right? Like you help a lot of entrepreneurs, but then you're also an entrepreneur yourself, right? So you're going through a lot of the growth and learning curves like we all do.
Yeah.
And you see it firsthand. Some of the scale that a lot of the entrepreneurs that you work with are going through too. So I really want to hit on a lot of that stuff. So how did you get into being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, honestly, I fell into it. So I graduated from Penn State back a long time ago, 2014, and got into the corporate world. It's
not that long ago, all right? Not that.
I mean, you're right, my bad. Got into the corporate world and absolutely hated it. The 9 to 5, 5 days of PTO, totally controlled your schedule. I knew I was miserable right from there.
Isn't it amazing how an adult can be told when to go on vacation, when to go to the bathroom, when to take time off, when to clock in, when to clock, it amazes me that there's adults out there that allow other people to tell them how to live their life. It's not fucking crazy.
I don't understand. And that's the thing, as you know, as an entrepreneur, I work 365 days a year, 7 days a week, damn near 24 hours a day.
But I'd rather do it for myself than for somebody else.
I have control over my schedule and when I do things and when I take meetings and I don't stop working. It's just, I don't like somebody telling me when I can and can't do anything. So, so fast forward, very to where we are right now. I did the corporate work and definitely got great, time management skills and logistics and learned the corporate world and how, big time companies work. And
there's definitely benefit in that, right?
Absolutely, because it gives you a sense of structure.
Because there's no structure in a small business owner space.
Right, and that's I've been reading this book called The E-Myth, and it's all about processes and structure and keeping everything consistent. And if I were just to start a business out of college, I would have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I need to have that experience. So I guess there is some benefit to it. But long story short, I moved to Charleston and I started working for a local fitness, health, and wellness magazine here in Charleston. And basically, I jumped into the deep end, and the publisher allowed me to have free creative realm of the digital platform. So I got to work with tons of people in this industry.
Is your degree in marketing?
No, it's hotel, restaurant, institutional management.
Got it.
Yep, so it has absolutely nothing to do with what I studied. But I'm a people person, so I think the biggest thing that connected with me with a lot of the clients with the magazine is I'm truly authentic and I really care about these small businesses winning. And as an entrepreneur, as a lot of us know, you can't do it all by yourself. And I think that's the biggest roadblock people run into. And I'm going into my 6th year of owning my own business, and I'm just realizing that this year, right? I'm thinking, how do I scale? How do I get bigger? And I cannot. I'm only one person, right? And it's bringing on more people. So basically, I got into the magazine, and that's when I learned I had a gift for branding, basically going to these small businesses and helping them create an authentic brand, what they represent, and then communicating that clearly to develop brand awareness within their specific community.
Well, you have a very unique skill, because a lot of people with that marketing, branding brain are more, artsy, creative, but really struggle or really have to work hard in order to be organized and put thoughts on the paper and be linear in their process mapping and all that kind of stuff, right? And then on the converse side, right? People who are very analytical and data driven and process oriented can't think creatively. Like you do a really good job of doing both of those things, right? Which is a really unique perspective of somebody who can be organized and say, here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to convey these thoughts, and show that process of how it's going to move forward, as well as like, oh, this shot would be awesome. How about this angle over here, right? So it's a very, like you definitely have a talent and a skill for that.
Yeah.
It's very, very unique that can't really be found in the space. So how did you transition from working with them to start doing your own thing? Did you like have like
COVID.
a part-time?
COVID.
Oh, COVID, okay.
COVID kind of forced me into
burn the ships, right?
Being an entrepreneur, like a true entrepreneur. So COVID hit, and as
did you have any clients before COVID, like
so
part-time or anything?
No, it was just this magazine. I was signed on, and that was my full-time job. But within the magazine, I probably had 20, 30 clients, right? So I was managing a lot of different clients. I built all types of different programs within it. So it was like 10 full-time jobs, which I love. You know, I don't like doing the same thing every single day, and that's why I like to have a variety of clients. So basically, COVID happened, and I didn't know what other job. I actually tried to get back into corporate, and I was like, I don't know what else to do. I took a director of marketing out of position, 9 to 5, super regimented, and absolutely hated it. Within 30 days, I was like, I can't do this. I have to figure out something else. So that's when I just jumped in the deep end and made the commitment to myself, and it was hard. Like, honestly, I haven't really truly experienced, I would say, like, business success until these last few months. And I just believed in it the entire time. I knew what I was capable of, and I knew what I could do to other people or help other people in their brands. And that's why I love what I do. I like seeing people win, and I'll put anything and everything I can into it to make that happen. So I think people just started to catch on to that over the last few years. Last few months. And right now I have 6 clients, and I absolutely am maxed out to the T, and I don't want to take on any more of that. Right. So I'm at a weird space right now where I'm like, how do I figure out what I'm doing now, but also what's next? So.
Yep. Why do you think more people don't leave the corporate world and try starting their own business?
Stability, financial stability, just knowing that you have a paycheck every single week. I would say that's one of my biggest things is, how am I going to pay the bills? As an entrepreneur, there's months where you're killing it and months where you're like, I don't know where I'm going to get my money from.
Do you think it's better to like start something part-time while you're working a full-time job, or just burn the ships and be like, I'm either going to win or I'm going to die trying?
That's a great question, and there's a 2-part answer to that. Number one, I have a client right now who was in that same situation. She was working part-time but also had a side hustle. My personal advice is, when your side hustle is making more money, or damn near close to making you more money than your actual job, then that's when you cut the ties. Yep. There are too many kids, I should say, these days that want to start their own businesses outside of college, and they have no experience, and they want to work these part-time jobs, and it just doesn't work out. So in my personal opinion, I think you keep that job for the stability, and if you're truly an entrepreneur, you're going to work night and day to make that business happen. And when you start to see that financial growth and clients are coming on, then that's when it's like, okay, time to cut these ties and jump into the deep end with this.
Work full-time on your job, part-time on your fortune until they kind of equate, and then you can go full-time on your fortune. That's a pretty exciting spot to be in, right?
Yeah.
So it's commendable that in about 12, 18 months, right? Obviously trying to get your footing and trying to figure everything out, and having some struggles and figuring out, what works, what doesn't work, what's profitable, what's not, where should you be spending your time, what kind of clients you want to work with versus not work with. There's a lot of things that happen when you're first kind of getting going in your business. It took me about 8 years of being bad at business before I actually had real business success of actually
100%.
Making money, right?
Yeah.
I never worked a job, well, I kind of did, right out of school as a broker, and I took a job selling cars actually for like 4, 5, 6 months when I first moved to Charleston, and then I jumped into real estate full time in late 2008, and I never made 6 figures until 2014, so it was 6 years of like legit under $50,000 while I'm trying to be an entrepreneur and trying to make things happen and all this other stuff, and there was a lot more money going out than there was coming in, there was probably there were several years where I didn't make anybody, right? Like it just all went out.
Yep.
So that's a real thing, but it takes some time to become an expert, to become an authority in that space.
What was the one thing that was holding you onto it? Like, okay, you have a wife, you have kids, you have people you have to support, you have people that work for you. At what point? It's like, when do you truly tell someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, this isn't for you, bro, go the other way?
Yeah.
And if you're experiencing failure after failure after failure after failure, and it's a question I've answered before, but I'm interested to know your opinion.
I would say anything you commit to needs to be a minimum 3-year commitment. I have a 3-year rule. If I'm gonna do anything, I'm gonna do it for 3 years, because you cannot become an expert at anything without 10,000 hours of time spent in that space, right? You got some good corporate time, right? You got paid corporately while you were working towards that 10,000 hours, but like that's a quantifiable statistical number of like, you become an expert after you spent 10,000 hours. To your point of like, we're entrepreneurs, so we don't work 40-hour weeks, we work 60-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks, you know, like 100-hour weeks.
Yep.
If you're spending that much time, like 10,000 hours is, 2,000 hours is a year, right? 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, that's 1 year. So 10,000 hours is 5 years. On a 40-hour work week takes 5 years to become an expert at anything. Right. An entrepreneur, somebody who's gonna just go all in like you or me, can become an expert at something in 3 years, right? So that's my rule. Year 1, you're planting seeds. Year 2, you're cultivating those seeds. Year 3 is when you really start harvesting, and year 4 and beyond is when you really start consuming your harvest, right? And so that's always, not always, but like after being in business for 15 years or whatever, I've realized that there's a 3-year rule, and people who don't commit to something for 3 years and they jump from job to opportunity to get rich quick scheme after, you know, network marketing thing to this and that and everything else, it's because they don't give it 3 years.
Yeah.
You got to give it minimum 3 years full-time effort. And if it's not a full-time effort, it needs to be minimum 5 years, right? And so I think that is a key differentiator for the people who are highly successful versus not successful. And for me, I was in real estate, right? Like we all know real estate's a good place to make money. So it wasn't really an experiment.
I'm trying to get into real estate.
Yeah, right? Everybody either makes money in real estate or they make money somewhere else and then put it into real estate. So to me, it wasn't like an experiment. I knew that real estate worked. I just knew that I needed to friggin' learn how to do it, you know? And eventually it would make sense. And so the beauty is like, when you get starting into like rental properties and you just put a mortgage on something, if you hold on to it long enough, it'll appreciate, you'll pay down enough principal, and you can buy it wrong and still make money on it, right? You know? So that was really what held me on. And then all the other shit of like everybody telling me to go back and get a job, and I was like, shit, no, I'm not getting a job. That's not for me. So. Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, do me a quick favor. Give me your best takeaway so far from this episode of Spill the Beans in the comments below. Smash the like button, show me some love, please. And also, share this, subscribe to the channel, so that way you get all the new episodes of Spill the Beans. Appreciate you.
Through the process, though, I think, experience small wins. And I by no means want to say my business has made it and I'm successful. I'm at a point right now where I'm like, ooh, things are steady. Like, I'm finally at a place where money's coming in, clients are consistent, everybody's happy, and growth is happening. I don't know what that growth looks like, but I think that's one thing that's gotten me through it. Like, failure. If you're not an entrepreneur if you don't experience more failure than you do success, in my opinion. Like, but it's the entrepreneurial spirit that gets you through those failures to it. But
what does your team look like right now? Do you have a team?
It's me, and I just hired a coordinator like 2 months ago.
Which is the biggest hire, which is probably why you've had the most success in the past couple of months.
Yes.
Because you've literally doubled your organization.
Yes.
Right? Like you've had 100% growth in your organization from making your first hire, which is the hardest one. But that is going to take a lot of things off your plate that are not revenue driving things. Right. And that way you can focus on the revenue stuff, and then you're going to have like exponential growth. And the key is like, once you see how valuable human capital is, right? And you say, hey, this person allowed me to make an extra $100,000. You know, I'm paying them 50 grand or whatever, and it allowed me to make an extra $150,000 in revenue. You're like, how many people can I hire, right? But then you need to make sure that they're screened. You need to make sure that they're trained, and you need to make sure that they're being measured on their performance, right? And the metrics are there. So
that's something I struggle with, though. Like I've with what I do, a lot of digital media, social media marketing, and with that comes a younger generation of employees, for lack of better terms. And I've really struggled with finding somebody who has a professionalism, can communicate, and has that spirit of like that they care and want the other client to win. Because I think that's what sets me apart from any other person that does marketing and branding, is like I truly care about my clients. And that when they win, I win, not financially, but just in general. So
well, they win financially, you're going to win financially, because they're going to double down on media and marketing and everything else. You know? So everybody can win. That's fine.
Yeah. But it's just finding a good team. How do you find a solid team? I was on a phone call with Tito Beverage, who owns Tito's, right? I know a little bit about Tito's.
Yeah, right. I know you do. So I was on a call with him, and like there were probably 10 of us on a phone call, and he was telling his story. And the biggest takeaway in the 2-hour conversation we had with him was he always hired people based on attitude. He didn't care what their background was. They could have a GED or a PhD. Didn't matter. They could be of any ethnic, diversified background of any sort, and from any country, from any race, religion, doesn't matter. It didn't matter what their skill set was for the job he was even hiring them for. If they didn't know anything about that role, but they had an amazing attitude, he hired them.
Right.
And he's like, now we have 500 employees. Now our company culture, when you walk in the door, he's like, it gives me the chills because it's so amazing. Everybody's got a good attitude. Everybody's happy. And I think when you hire for attitude of somebody who's hungry, who wants to go out and learn, it like the resourcefulness is the ultimate resource, right? If they're resourceful, they're going to learn how to go and, shoot YouTube videos and increase exposure, right, and put the right keywords in and all this other stuff.
Well, that's the thing. You tell them what I want, and my girl is really good right now. I love her, and what she does is I tell her to do something, and she does it. She does it, but then 10 other things on top of it.
And that is it's someone like, you got to keep.
That's somebody I want on my team. So, and that's the part. And that's the part. As an entrepreneur in this growth phase, it's literally just kind of flying by the seat of your pants and figuring out what works and doesn't work. So, I do think that's the next step, scaling. But just
well, hey, you hire your first employee,
Yep.
right? And then all of a sudden you have some success and you feel comfortable handing off some clients to her, and the clients get more attention, maybe at even a lower rate, right? But they're excited about it. Maybe it's not Q, but it's Q's number 2, right? And then all of a sudden you could take on, instead of 6 clients, you're at 9 clients, right? And then you hire one other person, you train them up, now you're at 12, and it doesn't start. Like, I realized that it starts with one employee, and then another hire, and then another hire, right? It's not like you just walk into a team of hundreds of employees. Now I have a big team, but it didn't start that way, right? Like, this has been something that's organically grown over a long period of time. Everybody wants it to happen faster than it always does, but it never does. So, all right, so I know this is going to be a short episode because we got some cool stuff that you have going on outside of this, but I wanted to ask, like, when you sit down, you specialize in branding, you specialize in marketing. When you sit down with a client and they're like, hey, I need help with my marketing. How do you audit them? Like, what do you look for? What have they done in the past? What are they doing right now? And then how do you put a framework together for what they want to do and what they can do in the future? And I just want you to kind of talk me through that. Obviously, if anybody is interested in your services and all that kind of stuff, they can hit you up. I know you're not taking anybody right now, but let's give some value to the listeners of here's a couple of key takeaways that you can do to expand your branding, expand your influence right now.
100%. So I do consultation meetings on this exact topic right here. So I don't necessarily take on clients, but I'll sit there for an hour.
Send the bill to Cameron, all right?
Send you my details. So the biggest roadblock that a lot of small businesses or new businesses run into is they just jump into, I need a logo, I need a website, I need all this stuff all over social media. And I'm like, okay, let's take a step back. What does your brand even mean, right? So I'm a big believer in authentic branding, and I went to a conference in New York City like 5 years ago, and now it's real, like authenticity and stories. People people know about it, but about 5 years ago is when it started to come to fruition, and people want to follow a real storyline that's not just, you know, an ad or, you know, put on for someone to make
corporation.
Money. Exactly. Yeah. So what I do is we get real deep, and I have like a template that I give them that talks about what is your cause to action, like what is your mission, why are you doing what you're doing. We build avatars, probably 3 or 4 different avatars of different types of clients that they have, and I want to know everything about that avatar. When they wake up in the morning, what type of coffee they drink, what kind of car they drive, like what is their mindset, what is their spiritual belief, like every single thing, getting so specific as if they were standing right here in front of you. We talk about short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. And that's, you know, very basic, any type of branding, but I want their long-term goal to be their pipe dream. So if you were to come here and say, I want to have a talk show one day on real estate, and I want it to be on national TV, and I want it to be a #1 Netflix series or something. I want it to seem unattainable right now, because what it does is it creates a goal that you just are constantly chasing, right? We all know, like, if you set a goal and you reach it, you have nowhere to go. Yeah. So I want something totally unrealistic. Yeah. So overall, the whole process is finding out who your brand is, what it represents, and then naturally moving forward, everything falls into place. When we create content, when we build out the website, we create the logo and everything, it just naturally comes together.
Well, you have the clarity, right? You have the awareness of what you're trying to convey. Yeah. And you have that destination in place. Now it's easy to create the roadmap in order to get there.
Exactly, and it's not forced. It's like, oh man, we have to have the color concepts go with this. And you're like, and it just creates, and people see that. They don't see authenticity. They see something forced when it's not relatable. So that's the high and the low of it. I love putting together content creation shoots, and that's kind of what we did a little bit today of, and we sit down as a team and we storyboard based off of your brand, and we get really specific about where we want it to be, what we want it to look like, and what the message that we want to convey, and to who we want to convey it to. So it's just a lot of preparative work. I'm all about the 6 Ps, you know, prior planning prevents piss poor performance. So
prior planning prevents piss poor performance.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. So that's my main role with it. And then just continuing that, like, you know, I definitely have an administrative side of, you know, reviewing the analytics and looking at, you know, what people are like, what's engaging and what's not. And I also like to take people's concepts and put them on different platforms. I'm really big on events. I love hosting events with my clients and getting their clients face-to-face interaction. We are in a digitally saturated world. I mean, I do it for a living, and we're losing concept of that face-to-face connection, which is what people crave the most. So events are really big as well. Even if it's a small pop-up or it's something that, you know, a networking concept, those are where my clients see their most conversions, is when they get to experience you in real life, the true authenticity.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so for somebody who's watching this and they're trying to figure out, like, who is my brand, what is my brand, what are the steps I need to take in order to just kind of pursue that? What are like the 1, 2, maybe up to 3 actions that they can take from listening to this, what you would suggest that they do in order to have clarity on their brand and then move the brand forward?
Yeah, first step, what is your cause to action?
What is your cause to action?
What is your cause to
action?
What
do you stand for?
What do you stand for? What is your mission? Why is your brand your brand?
So sit down, write that down, and have really spend some time on it. You know?
Step 2, it would be setting your goals. So I want a 3 to 6 month goal, something that's super obtainable. Again, get specific with it. I want to know exactly what it looks like, what it feels like, what it tastes like, but something that you can...
A metric, you got to measure it, right?
Yep, so 3 to 6 months I say is short term. Mid-term is 6 months to, you know, 3 to 5 years-ish. Then your long-term, I want that to be something that's in outer space. Like, you would be like, hell no, that's a pipe dream, that's never happening. I want you to write it all down, all right? And then step 3 is executing it. It's getting together and putting the content together, and, you know, putting mood boards together, going online, finding inspiration, and writing all down what you want it to look like. So when you're executing it, you're not just showing up somewhere and just running it blind, right? There's purpose behind it, and there's a message that is actually going to go from point A to point B to a conversion.
I love it. I love it. Those are good 3 great actionable steps that everybody can take and just move the needle forward for 2022.
Absolutely.
So That's awesome. It's good stuff. Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your journey. I'm excited that you're working with my team.
I'm excited to be
We
part
actually
of it.
tried hiring Q full time in order to come on board full time. And she's like, I got other clients. I really care about what they have going on and this and that. I was like, no, I'll pay you more, Q. And she's like, no, I love my clients, blah, blah, you know, blah, 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 blah,
It's
right?
true.
No. And I
true.
respect that. I respect the heck out of it. And that's why I want to do more stuff together, right?
Absolutely.
That's why I want you on the team. Because I know how much you care, right?
Yeah, I do care.
No, it's exciting to watch your business grow. I know we've talked about like how we might be able to help you out and connect you with some folks and some of that stuff. So I'm excited to watch your business grow. That's the key, right? It's systems and it's people.
That's right. Systems and people.
And those are the two things in order to really start scaling your business in a big way. And the clients are out there. Everybody needs marketing, right? Everybody realizes, maybe they don't realize it, but as soon as they start investing in it, they realize marketing is not an expense, it is an investment.
Time investment and financial investment.
And you will see a return on it though,
100%.
right? Like you will see a multiple exponential return on your marketing ad spend. So it's one of those things that creates consistency in business. I remember before I'd spend money on marketing and I get all this deal flow that came in.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, stop the marketing, right? And I'd work through the deals. Yeah. And then I'd be like, how come we don't have any deals anymore? Yeah. Well, it's because you stopped the marketing. You always need to be marketing. So
absolutely.
I think it's the most important thing that that you can control in your business, right? That you can consistently drive revenue once you know how to use it. So.
Well, that's people, my biggest pain point with a lot of my clients is they expect immediate gratification. They want everything right then, right there. And I tell everybody that give it 6 to 8 months of you doing the same damn thing, posting the same thing over and over and over again, and then they'll pick up on it, and then you'll see conversion. So
it never grows.
Patience.
It never grows as fast as we want it to.
Yep.
But if you keep your head down, especially for 3 to 5 years, you will be amazed at how much this stuff compounds and where you are realistically probably hitting that long-term, non-attainable goal within 5 years.
100%.
It's wild. So awesome. Well, I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much. And
sorry, I stepped on your foot.
Oh, it's all good. And we'll do a longer one when we can spend a little bit more time together.
Absolutely.
I hope you guys got a ton of value out of that Spill the Beans episode. By the way, we got a ton more, so check out the playlist and jump onto all the other ones. I sit down with rockstar entrepreneurs every single week talking about what they do, how they're growing, and how what their entrepreneurial journey looks like. So I love what Q said. I love those actionable steps. Those are simple things that you can implement in your business right now to make sure that you're setting yourself up for the best 2022 and best year you've ever had in business. I truly believe marketing is one of those things where if you're doing it the right way, it is a massive return on your investment and creates a lot of predictability for revenue and revenue growth in your business. So make sure you're sitting down, spending a lot of time on marketing, spending a lot of time on branding, because those are the things that are really gonna help you scale up your business in a big way, because that's gonna drive revenue, and revenue solves all problems. If you got some value out of this, please like it, give me a comment, give me your biggest takeaway in the comment section, and please share this with somebody else who you think that'll get some value out of it. So I appreciate you, I love you. Until next time, see you on Spill the Beans.